Hello again, guys. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the problems with a small sensor. I'm on my Pocket 2 right now, and this is a 1/1.7 sensor. Of course, I'm hoping that the Pocket 3 will have a 1-inch sensor. To me, though, if you equalize for light, I would rather have the biggest possible sensor, even if it's not as fast an aperture, just so long as it's still the same. So today I've got a few cameras to compare for a shot like this. This is a shot that I use occasionally on my other channel. Inside my car, just to switch things up a little bit. Now, my biggest pet peeve with the Pocket 2 is back here. And up here, especially here, the seats. In the seats, you're going to see a lot of noise. Now, this is a high contrast, high dynamic range shot. It's fairly bright outside. Now, it's not the middle of the day, but it's overcast. It's fairly bright. So you got the bright out there and the lower light in here. Seeing how it handles that. How clear is the definition on my face is probably so beyond over sharpened on my face that I look more diseased than I actually am. It's another thing I don't really like about this. But anyway, take a look at the shadows back there in the back seats. Is it actually black, or do you see noise? And more importantly, do you see color noise? Because I see color noise. I haven't looked at this footage yet, obviously. But in the shadows, it's not just a little bit fuzzy. It's noisy, and you can see other colors that shouldn't be there. I hate that. Now, I've got another camera to look at, which is also a small sensor, comparatively considered a small sensor, but will look a whole lot different, I think. I want to assess the noise for that. Take a look at this and see how this looks to you. Now, do me a favor, just pause it, go down in the comments and tell me what you think this camera is, just for fun. See if anybody can guess this. Now, this is a small sensor camera, albeit a whole different kind of camera. Take a look at the black seat. Okay, is it actually black? The shadows back here, are they actually dark? You know, over here, whatever. How's the dynamic range? Is it handling the outside and still getting my face exposed okay, and still handling the shadows without a whole lot of noise? All these cameras are on auto settings. The Pocket 2 and this camera are in sort of semi-log cinema-like. It should be a lot better, but this is still very much a budget camera now. So this is a Panasonic GH5. So this is a micro four thirds sensor, which is multiple times larger than the Pocket 2 sensor. I'll show down there exactly how many multiples it is. This is also on full auto, but this is the kind of picture you get out of a micro four thirds. Could you imagine, not going to get it, but could you imagine the Mavic 3 Pro micro four thirds gimbal head on the Pocket 3? Would you pay $1,200 for it? Because it would be that much anyway. I probably would, quite honestly, but not enough people would. So anyway, let's look at one more comparison. This is also going to be on approximately a 1/1.7, and that's here. Humor me and let's have a little bit of fun. Just pause it, go down there, and see what you think this is. This would be called Camera 3. Now, how is this handling everything on the same size sensor approximately as the Pocket 2? Is it better? What do you see back here? You know, how are the shadows? How's the contrast? How's the detail, the sharpness without overly sickening disease-like looking sharpness? I can't really tell because I can't see the screen on this because this is my phone. It's an iPhone 11 Pro Max. That's right, that's an 11 Pro Max. I don't have the 14 yet. I'm thinking about it. You either be this one or the next one that I upgrade to, but my battery's still fine. This gives you an idea what a 3-year-old phone does with the same size sensor-ish that you're getting in the Pocket 2. Now, without having seen this, I think it's going to look like a small sensor also, but I don't think the sharpening is going to be quite as sickening, and I think the noise is going to be much more controlled. And of course, we have the benefit of computational photography on the iPhone, and that's probably going to help the dynamic range a lot. Wouldn't it be nice if we could bring that level, or even half of that level of computational photography to the Pocket, and just never really have to worry if we're going to blow out the sky? Just take it around with us, and every shot we get is reasonably okay and recoverable. And could you imagine if you could bring that kind of computational photography to something like this, even with a micro four thirds sensor, a real camera with that kind of brain that you get in your phone? That's what makes me really excited. I would love to see this happen, though it hasn't happened yet, and there really doesn't seem to be a whole lot of plans anywhere from anybody to do it. Seriously, if you could take the brain out of the iPhone and put it in even a micro four thirds, I'll bet you they could do absolutely amazing things with it. Anyway, I digress. Let's look at all three of these together. Look at it together side by side on the screen here. Let's look at the shadow detail, shadow noise. Take a look at the detail on my face and things in the foreground. How unnaturally sharp is it? You know, how well exposed is it? Is it noisy also? And then let's look at the overall picture. Does anything give you a little bit of 3D to it? Does anything look more like a professional camera than the other? I'm sure this is going to look much more like a professional camera. You're not going to get a lot of depth of field, but it's going to have a little bit of 3D to it, much like even my Air 2S did when I looked at it next to the Pocket 2. But what about the small sensor 3-year-old iPhone? How does it compare? And what kind of, I don't expect to get depth of field, but overall look of the picture. Would you think that this is a small sensor? Does it have the small sensor look the same as the Pocket 2 does? Or is it sort of somewhere in between? My thing is it's going to be somewhere in between. Let me know in the comments. I'm really curious what you guys think. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. This is just one of the many things that I think about all the time in my obsession with cameras. I know everybody watches everything on their phones now, and they're not going to notice the difference in the noise and the shadows. They're not going to see those little color grains, but it still bothers me, I take my A7 IV, plunk it up here. The blacks are black, period. It's clean. Beautiful. Why don't I just take that with me? Well, it's too big. I want something I can just hold a little stick like this, like the Pocket 2, that's going to look just as good, which is not going to happen, I realize. But how about something just in between, just enough that it looks a little bit more like a real camera, but it's just as portable? Anyway, it's just a wish list. What can I say? Thanks so much for watching. Again, guys, if you made it this far, check out my other videos. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys again soon.